Hi, greetings madam. My name is Nurin Erdina binti Nizam and my ID number is AM20070070020 under section 7.
Hello, my name is Nur Hanan binti Muhammad Nazri with the student ID EM20070070256.
Good day everyone. Today we are here to talk about the article report Language Variation at East Malaysia under the topic Language Variation. To start off, let's take a look at the introduction.
Language is a way of communication. It is a tool for either uniting or separating societies. Moreover, language enables people to communicate with each other. Language is always evolves and is never being static. The term The term "language variation" refers to variations in how a certain language is spoken as a result of cultural, environmental, or geographical factors. Let us start with the introduction first, okay? So, the title for the first article is Murut Language Variation in Sipitang Sabah, written by several writers, which are Kamarling Ombi, Hasnaf Muhammad, Sharil Nizam Syari, and Nur Azlina Haji Muhammad Kiram. It was published on 27th of September on 2020, while our second article title is Social Variation in Malay Language in Kuching, Sarawak, Malaysia: A Study on Accent, Identity and Integration. The authors of this article are Idris Aman and Rosnia Mustafa, and the year of published is 2009. The outline of the main ideas. The outline of the main ideas in the first article is the variety of Malay language between the locals in Sabah Sipitang, while on the other article is the level of national standard dialect and non-standard dialect among Malay speakers in the town of Kuching, Sarawak, Malaysia. Next is thesis statement for this topic is the variety of Malay accent used among native people in Sabah and Sarawak, West Malaysia. Malay is not just a language of inter-ethnic interaction, but it also acts as a language of intra-ethnic communication. Native people of Malaysia has made it as their primary language and also used it in raising and nurturing their kids. Malay language is not only a mother language for many Sabahans, but it is also as their primary language. Continue. The diversity of native language speaking communities, each with its own set of linguistic peculiarities, had an important influence in the formation of the Sabah variant of Malay. Then, the Malay language and culture of Sarawak are distinct from those of other Malays in Malaysia. They communicate in a Sarawak dialect of Bahasa Melayu. Sarawak Malays speak a separate dialect distinct from other Malay dialects or the standard national dialect. Sarawak Malay, commonly known as Bahasa Melayu Sarawak, is extensively spoken by the people of Sarawak.
Now let's jump into the summary. The first research article focused on analyzing and examining the various Malay societies of Sepitang and Sabah by using locals of the Sepitang area in Sabah who are Murut indigenous as sample of the study. The value of this research may be observed in the variety of the locations since the research could discover variance in the usage of colloquialism. According to the findings of this research, participants from 5 ethnicities in Sipitang are a particularly influential group in shaping the diversity of Malay language in Sabah. The study's main finding was that Bruneian and Kedayan accent were particularly significant on Malay language in Sabah. From the article, we know that Sabah contains several dialects of the language, which is in the number of language used in certain region. People from a range of places, particularly those near to it, can comprehend some of the dialects or language of other regions. The language spoken in the region in discussion is Sabah Malay language. The variation in Sabah Malay differs from that in West Malaysia. These distinctions are the consequences of the impact of the native dialects, such as the dialect of the Dusun, Bajau, and Murut ethnic group, as well as the dialect of surrounding nations such as Brunei Malay and Indonesian. The Malay accent in Sipitang accepts the presence of Malay Brunei, but the Malay dialect on Sabah East Coast such as Sandakan and Tawau is assimilating Indonesian. The author of the article highlighted the reason why the research study is conducted is because of the emergence of an academic disagreement over the issue of Sabah Malay dialect between races. This issue requires explanation and more discussion, including the language misunderstanding and vocabulary disparities between races. Thus, this study aimed to identify Murut language variation in Sipitang region in Sabah. The three districts in Sipitang, which is Mesapul, Bandar, and Sindumin, are chosen by the researchers as the study region because the area is occupied by the people from Murut, Dusun, Bajau, Brunei, and Kedayan ethnic groups. The second research article examines the social variety of Bahasa Melayu used in Kuching, Sarawak, Malaysia, with an emphasis on dialects. The Malays of Kuching have their unique dialect as part of the Malay language culture, which differs from other Malay dialects or the four normal national dialects. It focused on discussing dialect discrepancies in terms of standard or non-standard of the 5 Malay variation in 4 formal language patterns spoken by the local Malay speakers in Kuching, Sarawak, Malaysia, which is positioned in the Borneo. The usage of the standard or non-standard dialect will be examined using 3 social factors such as the respondent's socio-economic position, gender, and age. The study will move on to national and regional identity and assimilation challenges. From the article, we know that Sarawak, one of the states in Malaysia, is situated in the southwest section of Borneo Island, isolated from the Malay Peninsula coast by the South China Sea. Kuching is not just Sarawak capital city and administration hub, but it is also a commercial and cultural hub for the state Malay community. The researchers for the study have selected local residents as respondents because they were the group of individuals who experienced linguistic and social transformation earlier than others as an outcome of urbanization. As a result, city residents were considered as an active group of individuals. The author of this article centered the discussion according to sociological modern dialectology study by using 5 linguistic variables such as an open-ended vowels A, close-ended I, close-ended U, initial R, and final R. This study explored the challenges surrounding dialects by using 4 distinct degrees of formality of speech patterns. Specifically, reading word list approach, conversational approach, storytelling approach, and reading passage approach. Based on the reading done for the both research articles, we can assume that the author's intention is explicitly delivered. Both articles aim to discuss on the language variation occurred in different states in Malaysia, where one article discussed about the language variation exists in Sabah, while another article discussed about the language variation exists in Sarawak. Both states use Malay language, but with unique dialects for different ethnic groups. Moving on, let's take a look at the review analysis of the articles. In the first article, strata surveying is used by the authors. The sample in this research consists of young individuals between the age of 16 to 31 years old from various ethnic groups such as Dusun, Murut, Bajau, Brunei, and Kedayan. This decision is to choose the individuals that is still in their 20s can be seen as one of the strengths in supporting the research topic, as the youngsters who were chosen are mostly had finished their formal education curriculum in schools. Thus, they have been introduced to a variety of dialects and language aside from their own language. Since they are meeting with a lot of people from various ethnic groups, either in school or in their working place, they are regarded as the most prominent one in language transition. They are also able to speak Pidgin, Creole, Market, and Bahasa Roja. Field approaches are used by the research authors in order to get more specific information and have a deeper understanding of this research topic. The survey question is disseminated to the young people who had been chosen as the respondent for the study by using this approach. Judging from the evaluation of the 5 distinct ethnic dialects in Sabah mentioned above, it seems that the language used by Murut, Dusun, Bajau, and Kedayan ethnic groups are prominent dialects, whereas the Brunei people prefer to use the standard Malay language over the regional accents. This can be assumed as part of the weakness found in the study, where the clashing of these two languages can have detrimental consequences, particularly in our attempt to promote the national Malay language, which has created misunderstanding among Malay people in Sabah. In general, Malay language is used as lingua franca in Sabah, although there are a variety of Malay dialects since different regions will have different patterns of speaking. Some of the phonological features of Malay dialect in Sabah are the core vowel vocabulary comprised of A, U, and I, with O and E mostly appearing in loans or cases of code mixing with standard Malay language. For the lexicon specific to Malay language in Sabah, it seems that most specific Bruneian vocabulary is not used and well understood by the local in Sabah. Even the history said that the Malay language in Sabah is influenced by the Malay language in Brunei. According to this research, the author proved the statement by saying that most Malay speakers he encountered in Sabah are not familiar with the Brunei Malay when he showed them the word list he prepared. In the second article, the first part of the article are the part where authors introducing the research topic to audience and to give general idea about what the article will be based on. The article mentioned about the standard Malay language, which is becoming the national language, and how the dialect for normal Malay language is generally pronounced in a official government broadcasting institutions such as Radio Television Malaysia, National Learning Institution, and National News. This article discussed the language variation focused in Kuching, Sarawak by analyzing the dialect difference of the 5 Malay language phonologically variables in 4 formal speech patterns spoken among the Malay locals. Through this study, the strength we can conclude is when the research author investigate the relationship between phonological speech patterns and socio-economic status of the respondent in Kuching, Sarawak by embodying the sociological urban sociolinguistic technique introduced by Labov in New York City, Stroudgill in Norwich, and Milroy in Belfast. To make the study successful, the authors decided to choose respondents who are the local citizens of Kuching, Sarawak. These people are the ones who experience social and language changes in the city much earlier compared to the other person. Thus, we can say that these local citizens chosen are adequate and reliable for this research study in order to observe the national dialect. The common language spoken by the Sarawakian, especially in Kuching, is known as Bahasa Melayu Sarawak. In terms of phonological variation, the authors have studied 4 speech patterns such as the open-ended vowel A, closed-ended vowel I, closed-ended vowel U, initial consonant R, and R in final position. Since the relationship between the researchers and the respondent are as strangers, the study was conducted in a more formal way. Thus, the interview questions were specifically developed through 4 speech patterns such as reading word list pattern, conversational pattern, storytelling pattern, and reading passage pattern. The researcher include the use of audio recording from the respondent where they have to speak in a 4 speech pattern design and then analyze the recording to draw the result. Despite situated far from the Malaysian government and isolated by sea, this article proves that Malay people in Kuching, Sarawak speak sufficient degree of standard Malay accent in formal environment, especially the respondent from higher socio-economical status and younger age because they are more aware and exposed to the standard accent. It seems like although there are many variations and dialects among Malay speakers in Malaysia, people tend to adapt to the standard national Malay language, especially during formal circumstances such as job interview and meeting with people from different states in order to express their national identification and assimilation. I prepared a video comparison between Sabah and Sarawak dialects. Let's take a look at it, shall we?
Greetings and phrases.
Selamat datang, selamat pagi, selamat tengah hari, selamat ngaliah hari, selamat malam. Nama berita, siapa nama dek, siapa nama nuan. Nama aku Alex. Hari ni penatai nuan. Aku datai Ari Kuching, Sarawak, Malaysia. Terima kasih. Sama-sama.
Greetings.
Kopi Vosian dogo suap. Kopi Vosian dong gadau. Kopi Vosian min sesudapan. Kopi Vosian dogo tuvong. Tumo dono.
Greetings.
Kopi sanangan dong koswabon. Osonong koswabon. Kopi sanangan dong gadau. Osonong dong gadau. Kopi sanangan dong gosodop. Osonong sesudapan. Kopi sanangan do tetawang. Osonong tetawang. Hino kopo.
So, for the conclusion, all of Malaysians use Bahasa Melayu as their first language. But you should know too that each state in Malaysia have their own dialects. Like Kelantan have their own dialects. Kedah, Negeri Sembilan also have their own dialects. And same goes to Sabah and Sarawak. Why do they speak in different dialects? Because different states have different and own history and tradition. In Sabah, Malay language is a mother language and also their primary language. While in Sarawak, they use Sarawak dialects of Bahasa Melayu, or we call it as Bahasa Melayu Sarawak, which Bahasa Melayu Sarawak have a distinct dialect that differs from other Malay dialects. In the first article used strata surveying, where the sample of the research consists of young individuals between age of 16 to 31 years old from various ethnic groups in Sipitang, Sabah. For the second article, the respondents are the local citizens of Kuching, Sarawak. The people chosen are the one who experienced social and language changes in the city much earlier compared to the other person. So we can say that the local citizen are adequate and reliable for this research study. Last but not least, first article is focusing on analyzing the various Malay variations of Sipitang in Sabah by using local citizens of the Sipitang area in Sabah who are Murut indigenous, while second article is examines the social variety of Bahasa Melayu dialects used in Kuching, Sarawak, Malaysia, which focuses on discussing dialect discrepancies in terms of standard or non-standard of the 5 Malay language variations in 4 formal language patterns spoken by local Malay in Kuching, Sarawak. So that's all for this presentation. Thank you for hearing.
That is all from us. Thank you so much for listening and goodbye.